Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Nice face, Michael.
Yeah.
The UFP Media presents the Unfunniest podcast, episode 29. We got the Mike Vernon episode this week, Mike. Trying to think of the
Oh,
other
man.
29s. Was Leroy Horde number 29 for the Browns?
No, Leroy Horde was 33 after
Okay.
Biner, I think.
I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember many
Man.
29s other than Mike Vernon. So,
Well, of course, a
yeah,
local hero here. And
yeah, absolutely. An Andy Williams song. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So with kids mistletoeing and hearts are glowing. Tomorrow is December. We say every year we get older, and every year I keep saying it. God, I can't believe how fast this year's going, but it's going to be
feels
that
like
way.
yeah, this
So,
Thanksgiving thing comes up in a flash of an eye.
well,
All
and
the
it was
Christmas
late
stuff's
this
up.
year. Thanksgiving was late this year, wasn't it? Realistically,
It was late last year, too. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah. That means, Mike, there's only you've only got 11 more days to shop for my birthday. Depending on
Oh,
what
yeah, December 12th, right?
yeah, that's 12/12, so we're gonna have the Mark Miller birthday
Hoppies.
extravaganza. Hoppies is
Hoppies.
on the 10th. Hoppies is on the 10th. Schaefer's is on the 11th or the 15th. Kathy's is the 15th. So we got everybody in December at that time. But
Yeah.
want to thank you guys, everybody, again. Please, we keep going to say it again. Like, share, tell your friends about us. Anybody else that you want, and if you like us, make sure you tell more people. And if you can't stand us, tell even more people.
Yeah.
Hate watch us.
Please
We
tell
don't care.
everyone how.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't care.
Please tell everyone how bad we are.
Exactly. We're just two bums sitting in our basement with cameras we bought off of Amazon. So
Yeah. The hell's that thing on the back of your? What's that thing behind you?
it,
I just noticed that.
yeah, it's a stupid little 3D printed thing. I forgot to take off the wall. I took some decor down, and I forgot to take that stuff down. So um,
Speaking of decor, did you put any Christmas
we did.
paraphernalia up?
Yeah, we put our Christmas tree up. We've been putting everything up today. Charlotte is going crazy. I swear, I can't wait to drop her off at school in the morning because Charlotte thinks that everything for Christmas is hers and she can put up whatever she wants wherever she wants it. So, by the way, I want to thank Rebecca for that small Christmas tree now that Charlotte thinks that she can put every ornament known to man on her little 2 foot tall Christmas tree in her room. So she
Yeah,
tries
no,
to
that's good.
decorate that full. Yeah.
It's not quite like the Ward House, though. Shoot, us priest. We have, if you count all of the trees, just counting trees that are erect in the home. Yes, I did say that. They're erected in the home. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kaylee's is 8. They're little trees, but still. Yeah,
It doesn't
I
make any
know.
difference. I don't care if they're little trees or not. They're still trees.
It really does create a fun family old fashioned Christmas hoorah at the Ward House because it is pretty festive in the home for sure.
Okay, so one of the greatest things we did a couple years ago was go out and buy a new Christmas tree because we needed one, and we got one of the pre-lit that's only in three pieces. You put it in three pieces. It's lit. It's got the app.
Oh,
Does everything there.
it's the best. Yes.
Are the trees that you guys have, are those the same?
Yeah, excusez-moi. Yes, they are. The big tree, the 9-foot tree, which I create I put it up on a pedestal almost, so it's closer to 11 feet tall. But that is 4 or 5 pieces. Yes. Ping, bing, 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 bing. Lit.
Mhm.
And I light it up as I go too. So I can see if there's any outlights and then I turn it around, blah, blah, blah. The
Yeah.
tree in the living room is the old-fashioned type that came from my parents' house on Barbara. That used to be in the foyer in Barbara, so
Mhm.
that's kind of like a nostalgic, taller, skinnier, I guess you would say. That is not. I have to literally now. It goes up in pieces, so the branches come down. So it's not like I'm individually. Okay, so it's
I
not
hate
bad.
that.
But I have to put lights on it. I have to string the lights and everything else. I know. The other trees in the kitchen, the little ones, are pre-lit. And I actually, to be honest with you, I don't even take them down. I put them in the basement in the corner
Yeah.
of the storage room. There was no reason to take them down.
No,
So,
you got the space.
but the pre-lit is the greatest invention ever. Of course, I rip on AI and I rip on everything else in terms of being lazy. I'll be lazy. Self-admitted, I'll be lazy because I spend probably an entire day decorating the house because the garland goes up around my office doorway. It goes up on the banister going upstairs. It goes across the bridge. It is.
Mike lives in a
So
castle, just in case
listen,
anyone
we're
knows
going
the
to have to,
drawbridge comes down.
I'm probably going to have to take a mobile moment, whether it's this week or next, and we'll do a little tour of the ward home and all of the Christmas decorations. I am one of those rare males, I guess, that gets excited about Christmas decorations. I don't know why. It's the way I was brought up. My parents made the house feel pretty doggone special when we were kids, so I continue that on with our kids, and they are just like me and can't put anything up until the day after Thanksgiving. Okay, I agree with that. I do not have the outside lights up. I'm looking outside right now. Of course, it's still light out because it's only Sunday afternoon, but I need to do that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. How was your Thanksgiving, Miller?
It was good. Thanksgiving was nice. We just had some of Kathy's family over. Stan was over as well. It was nice and
Big
relaxing.
Stan.
Yeah, I swear though, I think everyone was out of the house by 8:30, and it felt like we were hammered drunk the next morning, like hangover, because it was so you just are so
Oh, yeah.
tense with every people, even if it's a small group. You're like, thank God people are gone, even though you love having everyone over, and it's like, okay, all right, let's get back to
Yeah.
normal again.
Time to go. Rebecca was up, I believe, at 5 a.m. cooking and
Ugh.
didn't stop until 5 p.m. when we started to eat, or maybe it was 4:30. I don't know. Yeah, it was a long day, and we didn't have a ton of people over. Obviously, it was just our family. The Witkowskis came over, Lee and Don. Of course, Beamer was here from Canada, our foreign exchange student, Sean Beamish, also known as my esteemed colleague from Canada. He just left he left this morning after the snow tapered off, which of course was being predicted as Snowmageddon. That should be in my rant. Maybe it will be. Take cover. Take cover. Do not go outside. You must start your fireplaces now. Every establishment that could be closed, will be closed because of the snow. This is a severe winter storm warning. You will not survive this. And then you wake up the next. Go ahead.
Speaking of that, on Facebook, I'm scrolling through and I see Click on Detroit, the Channel 4 for anybody that's not local here, the local NBC affiliate. And they have check out the school closings. First off, it's Sunday. The snow stopped like around noon, 11 a.m. If it was earlier than that. And I don't think we're really anticipating any other real snow the rest of the time. And they're talking about possibility of school closures tomorrow. I understand wind chill, blah, 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 whatever you want to say, but there's no reason to cancel school. And there's no.
Well, you're giving away my rant of the week.
Okay. All right. I'll be quiet.
We can wait till. Yeah, that's all right.
We'll be quiet there. But so now that was my 2 cents. But we, for anyone who doesn't know too, we went over Shane's house, our buddy
Captain
Shane,
Striller.
for the Michigan-Ohio State game yesterday.
Barn party.
Anyone that has never heard Mike and I in a room, that we
watching a football game.
We egg each other on throughout the entire game. I swear, if people don't know us, I think they probably think we hate each other. The way we go back and forth at each other all the time.
Hold on a minute. This is pretty telling because one of our own, of course, Jim, who's been absent as we continue to send our thoughts and prayers with my niece, Lexi, and her quick recovery from some of the issues that she's having. So again, that's why Jimmy has not been on. He's been pretty focused on nursing her back to health, obviously, being his daughter. But he was at the game. Out of the game. At Shane's yesterday. At one point, Jimmy told us to shut the hell up. He goes, I just want to watch the game and not listen to you idiots banter back and forth. I was going off on something about, I don't even remember what the heck it was. It was probably the play. Epic fail. Everything's falling apart. I think it was the play that Jeremiah Smith went in the end zone. They were contemplating whether or not to call it a touchback. And Jimmy goes, oh my God, you guys need to stop. I can't handle it anymore. I kind of took that as a hint. Like, okay, if Jimmy's telling us to be quiet, maybe we should probably tone this down a tad anyways. But yeah, Captain Strailer, thank you for your very warm welcome into your man cave barn, which of course is where we broadcasted live from, what was that, 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Yep.
Him and his new 75-inch Samsung beautiful TV that we got to watch the Buckeyes, for the most part, dominate Michigan. It was a very strange game. It started out, and I kept saying to myself, as a matter of fact, I think somebody told me to shut up. I think Mr. Palmer told me to shut up. He's like, dude, it's early. As I was complaining right after the first interception, and then Michigan went down. Ohio State held them to a field goal and made it 6-0. But I'm like, here we go. This is insanity. I don't understand. Why can't they seem to get this out of their heads? But anyways, yes, we'll go into the game.
Absolutely. So I'm going to play something here real quick. We got breaking news, Mike.
Breaking news. Can you believe it?
With breaking news with Mort Krim.
That is that sound from what Mort Krim was.
I don't know what that was, but that was some breaking news sound.
This is Mort Krim, Channel 4, breaking news here on the UFP. Take it away, Miller.
Two things. First off, LSU, I'm looking at you. Yes, I'm looking right at you, LSU. You're
Wow.
overpaying. You're
Oh,
overpaying for Lane Kiffin. You could have had Mike and I for $2 million a year. And what are you going to pay Lane Kiffin? 16 million, 10 million a year. You could have gotten the same record with Mike and I, and a lot more publicity than with Lane Kiffin. But whatever, you guys wanted to go with a name and not the unfunniest podcast because we would wear our
that's
own stuff.
right.
But yeah, Lane Kiffin, I saw it's funny to see nowadays the if you go on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, the private plane sightings, and a plane just took off from Baton Rouge, and it was on its way to Tupelo, Mississippi, and now it's diverting
Oh
over
yeah.
to Oxford, Mississippi, and all of these
So they
things.
seriously watch this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Well,
people that actually sit there and, huh? Go ahead.
yeah, you can tell all of the because it's a public university, you can tell all of the private planes that are
Taking
owned
off and
by them.
landing.
Yeah, well, it's owned
Yeah,
by
right.
them, and you can get their tail numbers, and you can figure out where they're at any given time. So yeah, if a plane is taking off after it was clearly said that after the Egg Bowl, there would be a decision made by Lane Kiffin where he was going, and you kind of knew it was either going to be Florida or it was going to be LSU. His family must like the Gulf Coast area there for him to stay. Kind of
Yeah.
relatively,
Close.
that close there.
Right.
It's a great job. LSU's a great job, and he can do what he wants. But
So it says LSU's courtship of Lane Kiffin has come to an end as he's leaving Ole Miss to take the job at Baton Rouge and will not coach. I repeat, will not coach the Rebels in the college football playoff. Okay, so that brings up a
uh,
whole other question.
yeah,
Quickly, your thoughts on that?
he screwed over his kids
Hmm.
because
Agreed.
now it's going to be like what happened at Florida State. I mean, granted, their quarterback got hurt, but I really think, are you going to look at that Ole Miss team differently without Lane Kiffin there than you did with Lane Kiffin if he was there?
Well, yeah, how do you? So this is what I guess I'm really befuddled by this. So I don't know, man. I am a firm believer in finishing a job. You make a commitment to a team. You make a commitment to a group of players who look up to you as their head coach.
Yeah.
Probably most of them look at you as a role model. They hang on your every word for all intents and purposes. And then you make a decision to go and just go, hey, thanks a lot, guys. And I know we've talked about every week. The goal is to get to the college football playoff. We're going to do this, rah, rah, sis, boom, bah. Oh, yeah, guess what? Sorry, I'm leaving. I mean, I don't know. It says he announced both things Sunday afternoon, the culmination of a week-long saga that hung over the sport, prompted vicious debate, and puts Kiffin in the unprecedented position of a head coach leaving his team and not coaching him in the college football playoff. In my opinion, I think that we go back to what we always talk about, guardrails, right?
Yeah.
My opinion, there needs to be some sort of guardrails set. Like if you are coaching a team, and I understand improving your life, improving your family's life, moving on, taking a position, whatever it might be. But this is different than working for a big corporation and going to a competitor. This is, like I was just saying a few minutes ago, this is a commitment to a football team. This is a commitment to a group of players and kids. What are you teaching these guys, right? Like, okay, your commitment means everything until it doesn't. Your commitment means everything until money pays you off. I know the culture we live in these days. I understand. But again, I'm one of those, maybe I'm old fashioned. I don't know. I'm assuming you agree with me that you make a commitment, you stick to it. So now, yeah, he's not coaching Ole Miss in the college football playoff. Are you kidding me? So who is the assistant
Well,
head coach? Oh, Ole Miss responded quickly. Defensive coordinator Pete Golding to the school's full-time coach soon after Kiffin left football building for LSU. Kiffin, 50, and the Rebels just wrapped up an 11-1 regular season with a 38-19 win over rival Mississippi State, of course, yesterday, all but assuring them a berth in the 12-team college football playoff. After saying he would decide Saturday whether to coach at Ole Miss or LSU in 2026, Kiffin met with the Rebels athletics director Keith Carter and Chancellor Glenn Boyce for a couple of hours on Saturday in the Chancellor's home in Oxford. I don't know, man. I just, yeah.
as a quick aside, is there anything that sounds more SEC football than the term chancellor and not university president?
Are we in the UK?
And
The
well, it's just like,
Chancellor.
what parish is he going to be in Louisiana? He's not in a
All right.
county; he's in a parish.
Parish. Yeah,
The
right.
Lane Kiffin situation here the last few years really reminds me a lot of the Ben Johnson situation, where how many years did you see Ben Johnson was going to go and he was going to go, but never the right fit. There were a lot of rumors the last couple of years, Florida State and a couple other ones where Even I think of even the Alabama job when it was open a couple years ago. Was Lane Kiffin going to go? Was Lane Kiffin going to be there? And for in a lot of cases, he said, "No, I'm here. This is where we're at. This is where we're going to be." And in fact, this is going to be sound really stupid, but if I'm not mistaken, is it his daughter goes to LSU or his daughter's boyfriend goes to LSU or something to that effect? I remember there was a story. If you look it up, like when I'm talking, you'll see it was something about his daughter or somebody with LSU. And I apologize, I can't think of it all offhand right now, but I really think that's what it is. You give him credit; he stayed for longer than I thought he was going to stay at Ole Miss. He must like the hottie toddies. But Ole Miss is a great job, always has been, even going back years and years. It's definitely better
So
than Mississippi State.
yeah, there's no doubt about it. So what I was curious about, 'cause when we were just talking a couple minutes ago about guardrails and rules and everything else, so
Hmm.
I immediately, I don't even know why I didn't bring this up, but the NFL does have specific rules for in-season coaching hires to protect playoff teams and ensure compliance with the Rooney Rule, which mandates interviews with diverse candidates. During the regular season, head coaching vacancies are almost always filled by a coach from within the current staff, not an outside hire, due to the disruption that it would cause to team operations and the league's anti-tampering rules. While teams cannot hire a full-time coach from another team during the season, okay, there we go, the Rooney Rule does not apply to interim head coaches hired mid-season. So yes, teams cannot hire an outside coach during the season. Any interim coach must be an existing member of the current coaching staff. So if you had these type of guardrails, once again, on college football, college sports, which is an absolute debacle.
I but
I mean, go
yeah,
ahead.
the season ended. Their season officially ended.
Well, it did, but they're in the
Yeah,
playoff. They're
I
essentially in
agree.
the playoffs. So,
I agree,
so
but
the
their
regular season
playoffs aren't
ended.
part of actually are the playoffs really technically part of the NCAA? I mean, their bowl game, they're a little bit different. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying about that? That
Well, I think you're getting a little bit ticky tacky at
I
that
am.
point. I
I am.
mean,
I agree, but I think that's why coaches are switching right now, right after the regular season.
yeah, I don't know, man. It bugs the living daylights out of me. I think if you're Lane Kiffin, I don't have a ton of respect for you. I really don't.
No.
I mean, I get it. LSU was going to hire somebody, and maybe he thought that this was the right opportunity and it's his dream job and everything else. But sometimes the hardest thing is the right thing.
Mhm.
That's on my refrigerator right now. That's Rebecca's her little thing on the fridge. Sometimes the right thing is the hardest thing. Sometimes the hardest thing is the right thing. So you always got to make tough decisions. But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. I mean,
So
I'm not a fan, but
another coaching job just opened up today, and it's in the state of Michigan. Jonathan
mhm.
Smith, who honestly, I'm not gonna lie about this one. I really questioned his hiring a few years ago when he was brought in from Oregon State.
Mhm.
I guess we always look and say, who's the flash name, who's the big name, who's this, who's that. He obviously brought in
Aiden
Aiden, the
Childs.
quarterback, Aiden Childs, for $1 million a year, who has proved to be nothing for them.
Severe disappointment.
Yeah, I think, we'll hear Valenti's thoughts, but I agree with him. You really have to have a long, strong look in the face.
Yeah, it'll go.
Are you going to continue to try to, for whatever you want to say about Mel Tucker and a dirtbag, whatever he was, everything else about that, but he brought some success early on to Michigan State. It wasn't sustained, and I think you need to have somebody at Michigan State, Mike, like a D'Antonio, who is there because that's the job he wants. And he's not going to try to find another job because you can win at Michigan State. They have the money to win at Michigan State. But now,
Oh, it's been proven.
where are you going to put the money? Are you going to put the money to the football program? Or are you going to put the money to the basketball program, who right now is incredible right now,
Yeah.
is doing amazing.
Yeah, listen, a quick side note on the basketball. Michigan and Michigan State are going to battle that out to the bitter
That
end
is
this year.
awesome.
That is going to be, boy, I'd like to go to both those games, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
All right.
But
So Michigan
yeah, so the
State
Michigan, huh?
SID's credentials, the UFP media will get out to you. Yeah, I think we need to have UFP media at those games. We'll reach out to you
Agreed.
guys. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so the Michigan State thing, I mean, this just goes to show you that a name, and I don't even know if Jonathan Smith was a name per se coming out of Oregon State a few years back. I know a lot of the alumni were not crazy about his hire. He seemed very unenthused. There was just no energy on that sideline. There was no energy in anything post game. Feel that they had a lot of momentum even after some of the wins. They just look rudderless. They look aimless, and that's a direct reflection on the head coach. This brings up another interesting thing. I mean, we'll obviously get into the Lions. some of my thoughts on that. But I mean, the head coach is obviously the most important coaching position. I would argue that your assistants are every bit as important and building
Yeah.
around you. There are obviously some very, very good head coaches that probably had some subpar assistant coaches, but I don't know that that's always the case. This is an instance where Jonathan Smith clearly did not surround himself with high level assistant coaches, and it was a complete and utter failure on all fronts. That Michigan State does not belong at the bottom feeder cellar
No.
dwellers that they are in the Big Ten right now. It's just, I know Chris Sims. Oh, this is probably 2-3 weeks ago after Penn State fired what's his face.
James Franklin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
James Franklin. And they were talking about positions and where Franklin might go. Obviously, the Lane Kiffin thing was being bantered about with the LSU job, blah, blah, blah. But Chris Sims had brought up Michigan State, and much to the ire of one of their most famous alums, Mr. Valeni, Chris Sims said on NBC that night that Michigan State was not a premier program, was not a premier program that a high level, highly recruited, sought after head coach would want to go to. I don't listen, it's not an Alabama, it's not an Ohio State. I guess it's not a Michigan or a Florida or a Florida State, but I don't think that you could say that Michigan State's not a high level job. I mean, you're talking about one of the highest grossing revenue sports programs, especially football, in the Big Ten and in the country. So you can't just all of a sudden dismiss them as not a top tier job for a top tier head coach. So,
Well, top tier destination or top tier program, they're two different things. Right now, they are nowhere near a top destination because
oh no.
they've just they've blown up that program horrible.
All right. Right.
Now, you mentioned, Mike, about the head coach and assistant coaches back and forth. I just should not I put a quick note down. When it comes to motivation of the team, it's 100% head coach, clear as day. But
Yes.
when it comes to X's and O's, it's 100% your assistant coaches. That's why I think that Ole Miss can use this as a rallying cry. You talk about going into the playoffs that, he left us. The brains behind that operation are still there. Those assistant coaches are still going to be there and still going to be coaching those kids. And those kids have an extra chip on their shoulder. You know what? And the sad thing is
Agreed.
nowadays, the way college sports is, a lot of those kids are now going to be sitting there. Hey, Lane, by the way, you really like me at Ole Miss. You're going to bring me over to Baton Rouge now?
Much higher
So
profile.
yeah, so I think
Yep.
that's a big piece there. And let's talk about our job front now, Mike. I'm still looking for a job. I got a couple of inklings, but I don't want the Michigan State job. It's too cold up here. So I will go
So
hotty
what you're trying to
toddy.
say?
I will go.
Yeah.
I'll become a rebel. I'll go down to Ole
Oh
Miss.
man.
Oxford, Mississippi is a
Woo.
great place to live. Good place to raise a family. I'm sure Charlotte and Kathy will be on board. I'm gonna have to raise it up. I can't take just $1 million. So LSU is big time. I could have done more things there. So I'm gonna have to go $1.5 million, and Mike's gonna need at least
Oh.
$1 million to come down with us.
Yep.
So let's go
You got
3 million. It's gonna be 3 million a year for Mike,
for the
Jimmy, and
package
I.
deal. Perfect.
Mike, Jimmy, and I, 3 million a year. Ole Miss. We'll go hotty toddy. We'll even wear your stuff. We'll go full Ole Miss. But give us a call.
Jimmy wants a
Yeah.
yeah. Jimmy wants the stadium sound system to be completely retrofitted to his liking. He's got a lot of demands for what he wants as an in stadium sound system, PA system.
Right.
So you'll have to get with him.
Jimmy's in-game entertainment.
Exactly.
He'll handle that. He will handle the lighting system for the stadium, and you know what? No charge. He'll probably do basketball as well and baseball.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm sure he'll be on campus. We'll all be down there, so we'll go good. But Ole Miss, I'll put my number out for you guys. You guys can call.
Mark Miller
So I have no problem.
is available.
Yeah.
Yep.
I promise I won't get kicked out of any games right away. So yeah. So I mean that's a tough breaking news there. Let's talk about some other breaking news from Thursday. Hearts breaking, if you will. Lions. I'm going to start by one thing. The news came out yesterday that Frank Ragnow has a grade 3 hamstring strain. Did you hear what a grade 3 hamstring strain is?
No, I'm sure you're going to tell me though.
It's a
Fire
torn
away.
hamstring.
It's a torn hamstring.
It's a torn hamstring.
Oh
So
my.
Kathy and I we're talking about this. My wife were talking about it earlier, and I'm sitting there saying he hasn't been an athlete in. I mean, obviously an athlete, whatever you want to say, but he hasn't played a game since January, and that probably hasn't even healed since he was playing last. And I'm sitting there
Yeah.
saying, how do you not know that it's torn? And Kathy actually picked something up and threw it at me and said, what about your ankle? I said, "What about it?"
Oh,
So, for people that don't know, a couple years ago, I was walking twisted, and I felt something pop. Didn't know what it was, and go to a podiatrist who says it's sprained, but we'll do an MRI anyhow and find out my ligament tore right off the bone. But yet, still walking, still moving around like anything. Not saying I'm an athlete. I'm not saying anything there, but I guess people's pain tolerances are a little different. But
yes, that is correct.
you would know if you had a torn hamstring, I would think. But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt there. Maybe this was a PR stunt. Maybe it was something else, but seems like you would know that ahead of
So
time.
at Captain Trailers yesterday, the talk was they announced he's coming out of retirement. They go ahead, proceed to lose to the pack, and then they come out with, yeah, Ragnow did not pass his physical, and he has a grade 3 hamstring tear. I mean, this is purely hypothetical and purely speculation, but did he go to them and say, now that I'm looking at this, if you would have beat the Packers, you probably were in the driver's seat for the playoffs. You lost to the Packers. Yeah. Who knows? Listen, I mean, Ragnow with a bad hammy is probably an upgrade to anybody that got on that offensive line right now. I mean, once again, you saw what a top-notch, crazy good
Debacle.
defensive line can do to the chances of winning games in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, the pressure that they put on I guess we're getting into the game, but the
Yeah.
pressure they put on Goff all game long continue to make him throw errantly, inaccurately, ducks, overthrows, sailing balls, happy feet in the pocket. He did scramble. What did he scramble for 18 yards that one run he had? But other than that, I mean, Micah Parsons was creating havoc all game long. And on the opposite side of the ball, the Lions did not create havoc for Jordan Love. Jordan Love was, for all intents and purposes, able to sit
Clean.
back in the pocket and pick them apart. So this once again goes to, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson is a good pass rusher. He is not great. He is not superb. He's not elite. He's not even close to Myles Garrett. I watched Myles Garrett this afternoon a couple different times. He bull rushes, man. He takes the offensive lineman, makes them look stupid as he either spins around him or literally goes right up the gap and sacks Brock Purdy today. But yeah, listen. They need help on the defensive line. They need help on the offensive line. I would argue, I know this is not going to be very popular. They need help with the head coach.
They need a better assistant.
Well, okay, so let's go again. This was bantered about yesterday at Captain Strailer's man cave, and I brought this up. So, what does this kind of show you? With the Bears now sitting atop of the NFC with the Rams losing, Ben Johnson looks more and more like he was the brains behind the operation. Dan Campbell is clearly a phenomenal motivator. He's a man amongst boys when it comes to motivating teams, getting them hyped up for most games. Just the overall persona, like you said, bringing energy and everything else. But does this start to show you that Ben Johnson, with his offense, clearly on that side of the
Yeah.
ball, was the brains behind this operation? I mean, dude, year one, he's taken the Bears. They're 9-3. I mean, mercy. And they look good. They looked really good at Philadelphia. At Philadelphia. So I don't know why I'm having a hard time with my voice today. Yeah, I mean, listen, we've talked about the week before. We talked about it 2 weeks before that. We've been talking about this all season. Dan Campbell needs to, at some point, you think you would have noticed this 2 games ago. This is not the same team. You do not have the same offense. You do not have the offensive line. You can't run the ball up the middle with Jahmyr Gibbs. You can't keep going for it on stinking 4th down. They're down 10 points. They have a 4th and 3 at the Packer 21. Kick the stupid field goal. You need 10 points. You need a field goal. Why not kick the field goal at that point? Well, J-Mo dropped the ball. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care if J-Mo dropped the ball. You needed 10 points. Kick the field goal. I just
Here,
don't understand,
you
man.
know what's more
This is who we
frustrating?
are.
Dude,
Go ahead.
let me bring up something real quick first about Parsons. You mentioned 8 total tackles, 4 solo, 2.5 sacks, and 3 TFLs. A wrecking crew. And honestly, I was watching the game. I don't even. He does it quietly. It's not. He's just quiet with how he goes about it. But
Yeah, right.
one of the things I want to bring up when it comes to this Lions team, as bad as they played yesterday, and as bad as recently they played with some of these games, they're still in them. They still had a chance to come tie it. They still had a chance. And I guess that if you're going to say, let's talk about a positive, a little bit of hope, is that there's hope because they're not getting blown out. There are little tweaks, little things like that. So maybe some different schemes. It's going to take a lot more of that offensive line, especially this week coming against Dallas. I think you're going to see some stuff. And the good thing is it's not a short week for either team. So they're going to have time to
Right.
prepare. But you're going to see if they were getting
Well,
blown out, I would say, yes, it's one thing like they did against the Packers the
no.
first game, but it gives me some hope. But this isn't
Well,
instead of running the ball left, let's run the ball right type of thing. This is going to be, we
no.
need we
This
need a
is
scheme overhaul.
they're there, I guess. I think, and clearly their talent level is in the top 10 of this league for sure. A lot of those talent positions have not changed. Again, we'll go back to both sides of the ball on the defensive and offensive front. But this is starting to become a Dan Campbell problem because what did you just say? They're in these close games. You're losing these games though. Why are you losing these games? I'd argue it's coaching. Mm-hmm. You're losing these games because of coaching. But the exact scenario I just said, the exact same scenario that they went 0 for 5 the week prior. They went 0 for 4 or 0 for 3 the week prior to that at Philadelphia. Dude, start taking some points, man. If you make the playoffs, you will get beat. Round 1, goodbye. Again, especially if you have to go on the road. Because at this point, I don't think, listen, if they make the playoffs, they're going in as a wild card, and they're not going to have a home game, huh?
Yeah, they're going to be all road games.
So let's go through this really quick, unless you had something else lined up for right
that's
now.
what I want to talk about.
Yeah, so the Lions sit at 7-5, currently in the 8th spot. And there are, as we know, 8 spots in the playoffs. So they are hosting the Cowboys this week. I personally think the Cowboys are on a roll. I think that's a loss. I didn't think that last week. I said last week that they were going to beat the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are coming in here and beating them. I do. Clearly, that's not going to be a popular prediction, but whatever. They are going then, the following week, they're going to the Rams. That is a loss. They are now sitting at 7-7, and for all intents and purposes, probably on the outside looking in. They host the Steelers. I think that's a win. Puts them 8-7. They go to the Vikings. I do think they'll bounce back. I think they will beat the Vikings. I think they will learn from the first matchup at home. That puts them at 9-7. Then they go to the Bears. Sorry, at this point, right now, again, right now, they are not beating the Bears in Chicago in the last game of the season. Puts them at 9-8. The Niners are 9-4, sitting technically 2 games ahead of you. The Niners and Carolina both have byes this upcoming week, which we talked about in the pre-show. It's weird how late of a bye. So the Niners are 9-4. The Niners have they beat the Browns, of course, this afternoon. So they have a bye, and then they host the Titans. I'm pretty confident they're going to 10-4 then. They are at the Colts. I'm gonna chalk that up to a loss. That makes them 10-5. Versus the Bears, loss. So now they're 10-6. Versus the Seahawks,
loss.
I think they beat the Seahawks.
Is it here or in Seattle?
No, it's at San Francisco. So let's just say they finish. I think they're going to finish 10-7.
Oh wait, it just dawned on me. That's the end of the year. That's when Sam Darnold turns into a pumpkin.
That's right.
He's not the real Sam Darnold at that point.
It's funny. Subliminally, I guess I was thinking that.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are at the Lions. I'm predicting the Cowboys are winning on Thursday night, so they go to 7-5-1. They're going to host the Vikings. They go 8-5-1. They host the Chargers. I'm going to say that's a loss. 8-6-1. At the Commanders, 9-6-1 because they're winning that game. At the Giants, I think they'll win in New York. The Cowboys finish 10. I guess this is all right now. These are all predictions. The team that's right on your butt right now is the Carolina Panthers, who surprisingly beat the Rams today. So they are forced to be reckoned with. They are at the Saints. They're moving to 8-6. They have a bye next week. So in 2 weeks they go at the Saints. They're 8-6. Right now, I'd say they're hosting the Bucks, Tampa Bay, in week, I guess it would be week 15. I'm saying they're going 9-6. I'd say they're beating the Bucks. Versus Seahawks, I think they lose there, 9-7. At the Bucks, I think they lose there. They're 9-8. So now you're tied with Carolina at 9-8 at the end of the season. Tampa Bay, Versus the Saints, they're going to move to 8-5. I think they win there. Versus the Falcons, 9-5. They win there. At the Panthers, I think I said that they would lose or that they would win that game, 10-5. At the Dolphins, 11-5. Versus the Panthers, they might end up 12-5. Okay, so here's the scenario. I don't know who wins the tiebreaker between the Lions and the Panthers. My scenario, they both finished 9-8.
Yeah.
So do the Lions pull out a surprise? Do they beat the Cowboys this Thursday? Clearly, that would completely and totally take my chart that I just did and throw it straight out the window. But as we sit here on Sunday afternoon at 5:01 p.m. on November 30th, at this point, I think the Lions are precipitously teetering on whether or not they make the playoffs. And to that point, they are not hosting a playoff game. So there is no Ford Field advantage, and they have put themselves in this situation. Dan Campbell continues to say, well, we've dug ourselves a hole. Well, that would be the understatement of the month / week / season. So, yeah, this just, I think at one point, I think on Thanksgiving Day, I said, how many times can you be 0 for 10 running Gibbs up the middle and getting either no gain or tackle for loss and keep running up the middle? For the love of God, it's not working. It's just not working.
Gibbs had, 68 yards on 20 rushes. It shocked me that they ran the ball 20 times with him. He's the best running back. He's the best speed guy and one of the best speed guys in the NFL. I think here's where Jamison Williams with Amon-Ra St. Brown, with Jahmyr Gibbs, with David Montgomery, everything is very copacetic. Everything's very happy when they were winning. Now that they are going through struggles, are you going to see some of this play out? Is Amon-Ra St. Brown going to be a little more upset that he maybe is not touching the ball? Is he going to be a little more callous about some of his comments when Jamison Williams drops the ball? Are you going to see some of these things happen?
How long is Gibbs out? So they were talking about this on the radio Friday. I think it is a lower ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain. I think all of us know a high ankle sprain. I mean, you probably very well could be out for the rest of the season. A low ankle sprain, not as severe. I think he can be taped up. Probably, maybe not quite as explosive and or mobile as he normally would be, but I mean that's going to play into it. The one positive that certainly did come out of that game was JMO and some of his electrifying run after catch. He did step up. Isaac Tesla. He's
got what, 8 catches and 4 of them are touchdowns. It's something like that.
So listen, they gave up a 3rd round pick to get this kid. I'm a big fan of this Tesla. I think he's a big target. He's quick. He's got great hands. Some of his catches are unbelievable. Let's get this kid in the mix, for crying out loud. We lose. Brock Wright goes down. So now you have your 3rd string tight end, Mr. Kennedy, number 85, who they brought in to return kicks, if I'm not mistaken, and one of the either the 2nd or 3rd line of the kickoff return. He actually had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
He had, let's see, Kennedy had Leo's. This app is such a pain in the butt sometimes. So JMO had 7 receptions for 144 yards with a touchdown. Yeah, Tom Kennedy, 4 receptions, 36 yards. Tesla, 2 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown, and then it fell off from there. Gibbs had 3 catches for 18 yards. Montgomery, 2 for 16, and that was it. To your point, 20 carries for Gibbs, 68 yards. David Montgomery, 8 carries, 32 yards. You're right. This is something's not right, man. I mean, this Sonic and Knuckles thing and all this other stuff that we've talked about for the last couple of years, they are going away from that. Goff's run was 24 yards, and that's special. Goff ended up finishing 20 of 26, 256, 2 touchdowns, took 3 sacks. So again, on the stat line, I guess it doesn't look horrible, but that's not factoring in all of the pressures. And like I said earlier in the podcast, the happy feet, can't get out of the pocket, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. David Montgomery was 0 for 1 on that Wildcat play.
And it wasn't Montgomery's fault. That was Goff was looking downfield before he could catch that ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick. I just, again, I'm not trying to pick on Aiden Hutchinson, but he did have 6 tackles, no sacks. That was it. Brian Branch had 10 tackles, 7 solo. Anzalone had 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. I mean, the stat line on the defensive side of the ball is severely underwhelming. Mm-hmm. I mean, you allowed Jordan Love to go 18 of 30, 234, 4 touchdowns. He had a 124.2 rating. He looked good, man. He continues. Well, listen, when you grow up behind Aaron Rodgers, who grew up behind Brett Favre, you're going to learn some pretty good things.
Yeah.
He looks more and more like Aaron Rodgers. The way he throws the ball, the way he analyzes the field, the way he check downs. He's not making mistakes. Contrary to what earlier in the season he made some pretty boneheaded interceptions, but he's taking care of the ball now. So Josh Jacobs had 17 carries, 83 yards. Pretty much nothing much after that. But look at their receiving. So Dontivon Wicks, 6 catches, 94 yards. Christian Watson, 4 catches, 80 yards. Luke Musgrave, 1 catch, 23 yards. Romeo Dobbs, 4 catches, 20 yards. Wicks had 2 touchdowns. Watson had 1. Dobbs had 1. I mean, this is clearly their passing game, which is very indicative of what we've been talking about. No pass rush. Jordan Love sitting back there picking the Lions apart.
Yeah.
So,
And
I don't.
off his back foot half the time, and yeah, just frustrating.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if you look at the standings right now in the NFC, I'm, for all intents and purposes, the top tier it's obviously going to shift a little bit, but as a general rule, you got Chicago on the top at 9-3, tied with the Rams 9-3, Philly's 8-4, Tampa Bay 7-5. So that, again, that's a division win though. Seattle's 8-3. Green Bay's 8-3, San Fran 9-4. So again, the Lions are sitting there at 7-5, with Dallas right on their tail at 6-5-1, Carolina 7-6.
Yeah.
So those 10 spots right now, and it drops off right after that because Minnesota's 4-7. So they're, for all intents and purposes, out of it. So you are in competition with San Francisco, Dallas, and Carolina. Those are the teams. And I guess you could even throw Tampa Bay in there too. And that's why I broke down my little chart that I did earlier. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting final 5 games or 4 games of the season. 5 games of the season. Right now, I think 9-8. You can combat me on that, but there's my analysis.
It's going to be tough, and we talked about earlier what teams are really good, what teams are not. Let's kind of do a quick recap, go over around about the NFL. Start back on Friday, Thursday. Some of those games. Baltimore losing to the Bengals. Joe Burrow's back. Lamar Jackson had 2 fumbles and a pick, so he was responsible for 3 turnovers. And Joe Burrow, 261 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, only sacked 1 time. So Burrow's coming back, and
His foot injury.
it's sad that they're 4-8 and they're not out of the playoffs.
Oh, they are not out of the playoffs. As a matter of fact, my Browns made the on Thursday and Friday during the games. The Browns were actually in that. What do they call it? On the outside looking in. I'm like, wow, at 3-8. Of course, now they dropped to 3-9 today with yet another lackluster performance. But yeah, the Bengals are still, crazy as it says, in the mix. You know who else is in the mix?
Who's that?
The Dolphins. The Dolphins won again today. The Dolphins improved. Yeah, they improved to 5-8. I mean, they're in the mix. So
I agree.
big game going on right now between the Bills and the Steelers. Obviously, with
0-0.
the AFC Central, or
0.
AFC North. Yeah, 0.
Vikings took the lead 10-0 over the Seahawks.
Seahawks
10-0 over the Vikings. Cowboys, we talked about earlier. Cowboys are playing good football. 31-28 over the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are out of it. I think the rest of this year. But then again, who knows? I hate to say that.
It's the Chiefs. I guess you can never count Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes out.
Bears 24-15. I think the Bears really showcased a lot of the problems that the Eagles have, and I think that it's sad that as good as a record as they have, they're one of the most dysfunctional teams in the National Football League.
Can we talk about Ben Johnson ripping his shirt off?
No,
you didn't see that?
No,
the post game. He walked in the locker room. He went ballistic, ripped his shirt off, went shirtless, pumping up the entire team in the post game locker room celebration. So apparently, what happened though was there is a hot dog company in Chicago that said 2 weeks ago Ben Johnson either goes shirtless on the sideline or post game in one of the celebrations, the entire city of Chicago gets free hot dogs.
Thinking it never happened.
What? Thinking it never happened. Yeah. He ripped that damn shirt off, and off he went. So
get our hot dog in Chicago.
Yeah, let's go to Chicago, get a free hot dog. Caleb Williams was 17-36, 154, a touchdown, and 1 interception. I mean, again, this is what he's doing, though. Ben Johnson has him taking care of the ball, right? Maybe not outlandish statistics, but he's managing these games, and Ben Johnson's dialing him in. Carnegie had 22 carries for 130 yards with a touchdown. DeAndre Swift had 18 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown. So
That's
they
their
are,
Sonic and Knuckles.
yep, they are quickly establishing themselves as the team to beat in the NFC. Now, does it come down to like the Lions of last year, and they go into they get a first round bye, they host a team, and yeah, they could, but Chicago's not going to be an easy place to play outside in January in the playoffs.
Nope.
And if the Bears are setting themselves up to be dominant in the run game like they are, especially the past few weeks, I mean, you had 250 yards rushing between two backs. Dude, everyone was looking for a reason to doubt the Bears and to basically say, poo-poo them and say, well, they'll falter. My dude, you look at the stat lines, man. This is a makeup of a outdoor playoff push team, and you're seeing it develop right before our very eyes.
So let's talk about another team that with a quarterback that I'm going to say, is it going to come back down to earth or not? And I think we were saying that they were going to win the title and that we were going to win the Super Bowl early on. The Colts losing to Houston, and I called Houston out. I said Houston was done, and now they're one game behind Indianapolis in that division. They won 20-16. Daniel Jones' stat wasn't horrible, 14-27, 201, and 2 touchdowns. No picks in sack one time. Jonathan Taylor, 85 yards rushing, but then that was all the rushing they had. Is it the Colts coming back down to earth?
Collapsing? Yeah, I think so.
Or is it the Houston coming back up where they should have been? Are they leveling off where they should be?
Yeah, I think so. You're starting to see, yeah, that's exactly what it is. You're seeing a leveling off. Colts are coming back down to earth. CJ Stroud was back today. Let's see. What was his stat line today, Mr. Stroud? He was 22 of 35, 276. No touchdowns and interceptions, 75.4 rating. It's pretty good, though. I mean, 276 yards rushing. That backup, I don't remember what the heck his name was, but he held them together. They now sit at 7-5. I mean, if you look at the AFC, this is completely different than the NFC because in the AFC, outside of the Pats and the Broncos, the 3 spot all the way down to the 12 spot. So you've only got 8 spots, but you get, like you said, the Bengals are sitting at 4-8. They're technically still in it. I mean, that's a pretty long shot, but you then have the Dolphins at 5-7, Baltimore's at 6-6. So Baltimore is probably going to leapfrog everybody because they should. Well, I shouldn't say that because Pittsburgh's 6-5. So they're going to battle it out. But yeah, you got Jacksonville at 8-4, Pittsburgh's 6-5, India's 8-4. The Clippers, Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry about that, Jim Harbaugh. 7-4, Buffalo 7-4, Houston 7-5, Kansas City still in the mix. 6-6, Baltimore 6-6, Miami 5-7, Cincy at 4-8. That is going to be a fascinating 5 weeks of football starting now, basically, with the game between the Steelers and the Bills. So not a ton of drama in the NFC, unless you're a Lions fan and you got to wait this thing out and see where we end up. But the AFC is wide open, so should be fascinating.
Yeah. So
sorry, I interrupted your countdown. Go ahead.
No. I think those are the big things there. Let's talk now about the next level down at those minor leagues of the NFL. Let's talk about some college football from this past week. And obviously, we had the game, Michigan and Ohio State at Ann Arbor. We'll get into that in a second, but I just want to say that I think it's absolutely ridiculous the way these players, and you can't touch my logo on the field, and you can't do this, and you can't do the players standing around the logo after the game. We'll talk about that later, but it's a joke. Take care of it on the field, get your butt off the field. You lost just like last year. Ohio State has no reason to complain. They got the butts kicked. So
yeah, well,
talk about
yes.
The game, Mike.
Yeah. I found myself standing there watching that game almost in disbelief in the first 8 minutes of the first quarter. Like, is this really happening again? Is this really seriously happening again? Michigan goes down, to their credit, rolled down the field to Ohio State. Defensively, held them to a field goal. Okay, Matt Patricia. Yes, nice work, Mr. Patricia. And on the defensive side of the ball, Ohio State gets the kickoff. Lynn Sand drops back, throws an errant pass to the sideline. Boom, picked off. Michigan. To Mr. Purdue's defensive credit once again, they held Michigan to a field goal. Ohio State gets back, gets into a little bit of a rhythm, drives all the way down the field. The headbutting penalty on Michigan, which I do not think he purposefully did that to the referee. I think he was trying to simulate exactly what was happening.
I
Yeah,
give the refs a ton of credit to not.
right.
I mean, you
As
should
much
by the
flack as we
letter of
give
the
him.
law, he should have been ejected. He should have been kicked out.
Correct.
But I give the ref credit for that one. So
Yeah.
for as much as we complain about him, that I think that's one of the great things referees did.
Yeah, I was going to say we clearly we rip on them quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was going to be 3rd and goal. That gave Ohio State half the distance to the goal, 1st and goal. To Michigan's credit, they held Ohio State out of the end zone, and it was 6-3. Michigan goes down, gets another field goal, makes it 9-3, and you could almost feel all of a sudden the last 4 years. It's like somebody woke up and said, "You know what? I'm tired of this crap." Ryan Day, we're going to open up the playbook. We're going to flex some muscle. And from about the last minute of the first quarter and the rest of the game, Ohio State absolutely dominated Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan was not hanging with Ohio State any way, stretch, or form. That whole call in the corner of the end zone with Jeremiah Smith. I mean, the Michigan fan, if we would have had that turnover, it would have been a different game. Okay, first of all, he took 5 steps after he caught the ball, so that was clearly a catch, and he became a runner. He had possession as he was going across the goal line. He was switching hands for all intents and purposes. What I say yesterday when we were standing there,
I agree.
if they overturned that call and they said touchback Michigan ball, I think the whole country would have went, what? College football is even more of a joke than we thought it was.
Absolutely.
So to their credit, they let it up. It upheld, and then Ohio State decided at that point to basically, like I said, flex their muscle and for all intents and purposes dominate the rest of that game. I'll tell you, Ryan Day for 4 years wanted to establish the run game and wanted to show everybody that Ohio State was just going to browbeat the daylights out of Michigan and beat them into the dirt. The 4th quarter of that game, he did just that. They ran over Michigan. An 8-minute drive, basically, to make it 27-9. Mm-hmm. And then the interception and the defensive domination that they went through. It took Ryan Day 4 years to do what he was trying to do. The whole Lou Holtz thing, remember that 3 years ago? Yeah. This is a tough team. This is a tough team. Well, which was pretty bad.
And Lou Holtz was absolutely right.
He was absolutely right.
Yeah.
Listen, I will give Ryan Day a lot of credit. To your point about last year with Michigan planting the flag and Ohio State freaking out about it, well, take care of business on the field. And I said this exact same thing last year. Take care of business on the field, and you don't have to worry about another team planting a flag. To Ryan Day's credit, they took that game and turned their entire season and obviously the playoff around and went on probably one of the most I'm not just saying this as an Ohio State slappy. They're probably one of the most impressive championship runs that we've seen in college sports. And Ryan Day has shifted. That national championship obviously pulled a lot of the pressure off of him. He still had the pressure of the game and losing 4 in a row. But some of his comments yesterday after the game and the humility that he showed is a side of him that I haven't seen. And I was very impressed by it. He even said that. He goes, listen, we're winning with humility. He went up to Sharon Moore after the game and he said, listen, we're not planting a flag, but let's make sure this thing doesn't get out of hand and get your players in the locker room. And Sharon Moore basically said, yeah, all right, I got it. And he did. Sharon Moore started to basically tell his kids, get in the locker room. But again, some of the post-game comments, I mean, clearly 4 years of the largest elephant in the room on his shoulders was alleviated with that win. And I'm sure it was much easier for him to sit in that post-game press conference and say, hey, this is great. You know, a good team over there. But I told my kids that we're gonna win with humility. What do I always say? This is not my saying, but I try to tell the kids. When you lose, shut up. When you win, be even quieter. But yeah, I think they did. Listen, they went out and proved it, and now they've got Indiana next week in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That should be a heck of a Big Ten championship game. It's going to do nothing, basically, for playoff positioning, I don't think.
Absolutely. We'll go into that here in
Your
a second.
thoughts?
Yeah, let's. I agree with what you said about the game. I think I made a point about early on in the first half, Ohio State wasn't going to run the ball up the gut. Michigan was too staunch up the middle. They had too much right in the middle. They weren't going to be able to run the ball. And Ryan Day was butting his head against the wall, kept trying to do it. and it showed her on the goal line a couple of times that you have the speed on offense that they don't have on defense. You take advantage of that. You don't try to dictate it. If this is a early game in your season, yeah, you can try to do some things back and forth, but do your strengths, take care of
Right.
your strengths. And I think in the
Yeah.
second half they clearly did. They threw the ball more. They opened up the ball. They weren't afraid, because I think that's a lot of cases. I think Ryan Day was a little afraid at some of these games. He was nervous to really air the ball out and to go
Agreed.
outside of it. And I think he
Agreed.
just said, "Forget it. Let's just play our game." And at halftime, that switch happened, and I think they dominated the second half.
So do we have the conversation about Julian Sand and the Heisman? I mean, obviously, when you have Cardell Tate, and Jeremiah Smith, two first-round draft picks, clearly, and when they were absent the last few weeks, he did struggle a little bit. But I mean, it's tit for tat. I mean, you can't have a good quarterback without a good receiver. You can't have a good receiver without a good quarterback. But he finished 19 to 26, 233, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception
Yeah.
with a 96.9 QBR. The kid looked very poised in his first Michigan Ohio State game at the big house. He sat in the pocket. He was calm. He made his reads. He found the open receivers again outside the first errant throw to the sideline, which was a pick. He just, to me, I was very, very impressed with Julian Sand, and I think he is going to be. I mean, if he doesn't win the Heisman this year, and I'm not saying he's going to, or maybe he doesn't, but he'll absolutely be in the running next year for sure.
Absolutely. To me, I think the person, it's a one-man race right now, and that's just Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. I just
Yes,
looking at his stats, near 3,000 yards passing and 32 touchdowns this year.
it's
32
crazy.
touchdowns. I well, let's go back. Some of those games this past weekend, Indiana beat Purdue 56-3 in their final tune-up. Obviously, you didn't
Yep.
see any looking ahead from them, so I think that was a good piece there. Rushing, they had Indiana had 355 yards rushing against
Hmm.
Purdue. So that's all they did in that second half.
It's gonna be a hell of a game next week.
Yeah, Texas and Texas A&M. Texas Arch Manning 14 to 29, a buck 79, and one touchdown, and he had 53 yards rushing.
Yeah, that one touchdown, that rushing touchdown.
Yeah,
He looked pretty good.
he did.
Are they back? Are they in the mix?
I
What do you
yeah,
think?
I think with Michigan losing, I think that catapults them into there.
I
'Cause,
agree.
yeah, the game of who really cares, Georgia and Georgia Tech. Georgia 16-9 over Georgia Tech. Ole Miss 38-19. So that means Ole Miss is probably going to be with number 3 losing. Ole Miss could be number 5, number 4, 5 or 6 right now in the country. They could possibly have a bye or whatever in those first couple of rounds. But I think Ole Miss, you can't count them out. I
Mm,
think they're playing great football this year. They obviously won the
yeah.
Egg Bowl. Utah beat Kansas. Arizona State. I think those. Oregon beat Washington 26. Another one. Oregon's 6 in the country. Oregon's playing great football. Oregon's going to be top 5 in the country after this.
Yeah, I agree.
And Texas Tech's another one. Beat West Virginia 49-0. Notre Dame beat Stanford 49-20. It's going to be interesting. I mean, next week, let's just go over some of these games next week. So with the championship games, so let me bring all these up, all the games next week, and we'll talk about the big one later, the Western Michigan, of course, Western Michigan and Miami of Ohio in the
Yeah, who
MAC
are they playing?
championship
Oh,
game.
Miami, Ohio. So
Yeah,
you and Jim Wise are going to duke it out.
exactly. So some of those big games for next week, and obviously the big one to me is the big one, and it's not the Indiana Ohio State game,
Mm,
because let's be honest, that game really means nothing. Both teams want to
nah.
have a close game. Both teams don't want to lose, but at the same regard, both teams just want to come out of that game healthy.
Yeah, right.
And if that's a one score game, I think both of those two are still going to be number 1 and number 2 in the country, whichever way,
Agreed.
who's 1, who's 2. I
Who's
think
two? Yep.
I think that's going to be a big thing with that. I don't know why, for some reason, my stuff's not coming up here, but
So you got Georgia at 3,
yeah,
Oregon's 4, Texas Tech 5, Ole Miss 6,
yeah.
and 7. They've dropped 4. They're predicted to drop 4 spots. Oh, they did drop 4 spots to
Yeah,
7. Yeah, because they were at 3, right?
yeah. SC,
Use at 8. Huh?
yeah, I was gonna say SEC is the other game. Georgia and Alabama, number 4 and 10 for the SEC championship. Big 12 should be a
Hmm.
good game. BYU and Texas Tech. Texas Tech's just been silent, sitting out there in Lubbock. Curious to see what kind of goes on with that one.
Notre Dame looked pretty good yesterday at Stanford. That's always a pretty good rivalry game.
Yeah, I want to talk about one thing too, because I think we're going to be down at the MAC championship game. So this is going to
What
be
time's that game?
it's going to be a noon kickoff on Saturday. It's going to be at Ford Field. It's going to be Western playing against Miami of Ohio.
Woo!
This is a rematch to the October 25th game down in Oxford, Ohio. Which, by the way, one of the best college campuses in the Midwest, Oxford, Ohio. If you haven't
Oh
been
yeah,
there, it's incredible. It's an awesome campus. But
Jim
Western
Weisenberger.
Exactly. Western gave up 260 yards passing and 148 yards rushing that game, and actually had a lead 17-9 going into the fourth quarter, only to lose and give up.
Who's your daddy?
So, again, back
So
into
yes.
yeah, go back to that Western game. It opened up at a Western -3.5, and it's moved to -2.5. Although that really means nothing, honestly, especially
Will
in
your
the
Bronco
MAC game.
faithful show up
I
at
think
Ford Field?
I think so. I think last time they were there, which was the magical season where we went to the Cotton Bowl. I mean, you saw that was a packed stadium there. But then again, also,
It was.
I think we were almost in top 10 of the country at that point. You know,
That was
uh,
been
yeah,
what's his name?
against with PJ
Minnesota's
Fleck.
PJ Fleck. Yes.
Yeah, and so I think it's really cool to see. I think they're going to
Didn't
be.
they play Miami, Ohio that year too? When
They
we
may
went
have,
down there?
or no, that was Ohio U. I think.
Ohio. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
The Bobcats.
yeah. So I think that's
Miami,
going.
Ohio should travel pretty well too. That actually should be a pretty electric atmosphere. Should
It
be.
should. Yeah.
The MAC championship.
Let me go back. I'm anxious. I want to bring up the stats when I back when I was with the team, because that year, that was 97.
When you were with them?
When I was working for the team and I was with the team there.
Mm.
Here it is. So that year, 97, we opened up. It was the first year of Coach Darnell, and we opened up against Temple. We beat Temple 34-14. Then we played State at State, and we had only 3 losses that year: Michigan State,
Mm.
Toledo, and Ohio U. Here's how much football has changed since then. In college football, we went 8-3 and 6-2 in the MAC and didn't go to a bowl game. Incredible that you think about it. Incredible nowadays. 8-3, we would have been in prime position for most bowl games when it came down to that.
Oh yeah.
But
Right.
Toledo was 9-3 that year, 7-1 in the MAC. Who is I'm curious. It was I'm trying to think who was the big. I'm trying to think of who the big players for Toledo at that time were. Gary Pinkel was the head coach. Offense,
Pinkle.
yeah, Ray Finkel. Clarence Love was their only NFL draft pick out of that pack, but it's
Hmm.
unique to see. I think it's upsetting for us at that point. We lost to Toledo. We got blown out actually by Toledo, but should have got to a bowl game. And I'm mad that we didn't get to bowl game that year. But just once again, just how big the MAC has changed, how big college football has changed, in what
Right.
30 years, 40 years. So things
Yeah.
change pretty quick when it comes down to all of those. Um, Mike, I wanted to bring up a topic about college sports, and we talked about it earlier. I want to bring up of college rivalries, and we even can kind of go with some of the other rivalries too. When you think of college rivalry names, what are some of those names that really come up to you?
The game.
The game, which, by the way, I agree it's a great game, but is that the most arrogant name to put on a on a
The
rivalry?
game.
It's the
The
game,
game.
exactly.
The game. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Some of the other ones we talked about: Civil War, which is that's changed now. Oregon State. We talked about
Egg.
the Egg
The
Bowl.
Egg Bowl.
Talked about the Iron Bowl. Some of the other ones I never even thought about that came up. Now it reminds me, Bedlam. Can you think about who
Bedlam.
plays in Bedlam? The Bedlam game.
What? Who's that?
Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
That's called the Bedlam game.
Yep, that's called the Bedlam
Nah,
game.
I have no idea on that one.
How about
Interesting.
the Holy War?
Oh, that would be Notre Dame versus Miami.
That's the Catholics versus the
No, that's
convicts.
Catholics versus convicts. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
the Holy War is BYU versus Utah, the religious school versus the
Oh,
secular school.
oh yeah.
The Border War, a game that nobody cares about, Kansas and Missouri.
Yeah, nobody cares about that.
Basketball, Tobacco Road rivalry. I've heard it called other things, but that's Duke and UNC. Here's actually 2 that I didn't think about for baseball: the Subway Series,
Well, that's the Mets and Yankees.
correct, and the Freeway Series.
Freeway Series. Who is that?
That is the Dodgers and the Angels.
I'll be down.
One soccer
The
one,
Battle of Ohio.
one soccer one I know you don't care about is El Clasico, which is Barcelona versus Real Madrid.
Is soccer a sport?
I believe so.
Just teasing. I'm teasing all you soccer people. Jiminy Christmas. Gonna hear it now.
And it's not necessarily a rivalry game, but when you say it's an original 6 matchup, you know what it means.
Yes.
And the last one is in college football, which I hadn't thought about, the backyard brawl.
Oh yeah, I heard this the other day. I forget who it is though.
West Virginia and Pitt.
Yep.
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 So we're gonna put this out, and I'm gonna put a poll to see which. And I'm gonna let's say, Mike, for you, I'm gonna take out the game. In your opinion, what's the best named rivalry between all those?
The best name rivalry?
Hmm.
It's got to be the Egg Bowl. I feel like it is.
I like the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl has always been classic too. Auburn and Alabama, the same weekend as always that rivalry series as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the Egg Bowl is just it's a great name for it. The Holy War, that's a cool one too. So, unfunniest podcast listeners, we're gonna put it out to you. Let us know what you think is the best, and I'm anxious to see the backyard brawl. Some of those I forgot about, and I guarantee there's other ones we forgot about as well. I think they're all pretty unique and kind of different when it comes to that. Mike, I'm going to go to a different Detroit area sports team right now, the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons have been playing incredible basketball. They are
Yes.
now 16-4 on the season. And I bring that up. They've lost two out of the last three, but ironically, those two out of the last three don't actually count to their standings because those were the in-season tournament games,
Mm-hmm.
which to get someone will have to explain why this is important and everything else. But when
I don't
they
understand this colored the colored
the
court thing.
courts, that's a topic for another day. But that Pistons game, I will go out and say
Aggravating.
that's one of the top. And I can't say NBA games because I haven't watched that much NBA lately. But between our friends and I, how much we talked about that was one of the best NBA regular season games I think I've seen in 20, 30, 40 years that I can remember. The
Yeah,
battling back and
Pistons
forth.
and Celtics.
Pistons and Celtic last Friday. Was it last
Yeah.
Friday? Battling,
Yeah.
excuse me, Wednesday. Battling back and forth. Every possession meant something. The crowd was going nuts in the Boston Garden and TD Gardens.
Mm.
It was incredible matchup, and I think Mike, didn't you watch part of that game too?
I did not watch part of that game. We had
Okay.
our tradition of going out the night before Thanksgiving. We went to Ichiban and the hibachi grill. So we got to have all of our, yes, we had shrimp and steak and sushi. And yeah, so the kids and I guess they would call them their boyfriends and girlfriends. And then Beamer and Rebecca and I went to Ichiban that night. So no, we did
Nice.
not get to watch the game. We did come home, and in another family tradition, sorry, we're getting way off topic here. I watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Of course, that was certainly a classic
Neil
in
Page
our
in it.
home and many. Neil Page, yeah.
Neil Page.
3 coins in a fountain.
Flintstones. Meet
Everybody's
the
looking around.
Flintstones.
So here's what we need to do. We have to watch the John Candy documentary, I Like Me. I guess it is absolutely spectacular. Of course, John Candy's originally from Canada, so Beamer, gets all fired up about him being from Canada and everything else.
We forgive
But that scene where they're getting out of the bed, or they're in the first night that they're in the hotel room, and Steve Martin's just ripping into him, and he's like, I don't know how you do it. And Steve Martin says in a mimicking tone, he goes, well, I can do it because I've dealt with Del Griffith. And the camera pans to John Candy, and he goes, you can rip on me, you can rip on the things, but I like me. And you can see almost like tears in his face. So I guess the documentary says he was showing like raw emotion there. Like he actually took Steve Martin, obviously it was just in an acting role, like he was serious. So that's why they called the documentary I Like Me. It's that from that exact movie scene, which I thought was pretty cool. But some of the one-liners that come out of that movie, the part where they get pulled over by the cop after the car catches on fire, the cop comes up to him and he goes, the hell are you driving here? Oddly enough, sir, the gauges don't work, nothing works, wipers don't work, but the radio works, oddly enough. Yeah, so that is certainly a classic time-honored tradition of watching Planes, Chains, and Automobiles, at least in our home, on Thanksgiving weekend. And yes, as usual, Christmas Vacation. Of course, we did that on Friday. I think it was Friday night. While we were putting up the Christmas lights. Where in the world did we go? You got me
We
off
were in the
topic
Pistons,
again.
but let's
Oh,
actually.
Pistons. Yeah, I
one of
didn't watch the Pistons game.
So-
Yeah, sorry.
we can forget about the Pistons. We talked enough.
Don't get me going on the
We are going
Wings, who's
to
giving up.
if you haven't seen it yet, I will watch I Like Me, and then we're going to come back next week and we're going to list, each one of us is going to give our top 10 John Candy movies of all time.
Oh, hold on. I got to make a note because I'll forget. All right, so
Yeah.
we're doing John Candy top 10 movies of all time.
I
Okay,
mean,
that's gonna be
we're not even
great.
gonna talk about the lines. Like, here's a nickel, go downtown and have a rat gnaw that thing off of your face. Like,
Fred Melma.
I mean, just some of the movies, the top
Sure,
10
folks.
movies. To me,
Park's closed.
I'm gonna give a little tip. One of my favorite ones of all time, Summer Rental.
Oh, that's a great one.
Excuse
That's
me,
a
your
that's a
wife's
great
on my
one.
whammo.
Uncle Buck's great. The Great Outdoors.
It,
Obviously, the
yep,
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
yep. So we'll
Yes,
give our
there's.
top ten John Candy roles and movies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's right. That's for
um,
next week.
so we'll
Sorry.
watch. Our homework is I Like Me, and we're gonna do the top 10 John Candy movies. So,
Yeah, Beamer will be proud. Beamer, if you're listening, we're gonna watch that documentary, which you've
absolutely.
been bugging me to do. So
So we're going a little long here, which obviously you and I like to talk. I think we need Jimmy
hold
back.
on,
So go ahead.
hold on a minute. Before we do anything else, because I'm going to forget, I want to share my screen because I want to
Go
talk
ahead.
about this really quick. Of course, my hero and the UFP's hero, Bernie Kosar, number 19, who this week had successful liver transplant surgery. I don't know if anyone's been paying attention, but there was a young man, I think he was 22 years old,
Lost his life.
in Cleveland. Yeah, lost his life. But before he died, decided to become an organ donor. His dad was a big Bernie Kosar fan. He was a big Browns fan. And obviously, Bernie was, I guess I didn't realize how dire the situation had become, but it was getting very close. Bernie needed the liver transplant. And this young man, to his credit, became an organ donor, and Bernie got his liver. He was released from the hospital this past Monday. He actually had to go back in yesterday, from what I understand. He's had a couple setbacks, but it's interesting when you're from Cleveland. And I'm not going to go into a long dissertation about this, but people ask, well, Bernie never won the Super Bowl. Bernie, couldn't get them past the Denver Broncos 3 straight years. So there was a quick clip, and I want to share this because this kind of explains Cleveland and why Bernie is still probably the most beloved sports figure in that town. So I'm going to share my screen. This is just a quick little clip, Mark.
Cities, and they've always got around to asking me, why do Cleveland fans love Bernie Kosar so much, Ken? They take a look at the stats on Sports Reference, and they're not as prolific as some of the other quarterbacks that Bernie played against, and they don't understand. My answer is never hard to explain, though, because Bernie's ours. He's from Northeast Ohio. He gained the system to play for our Browns, and he's the last QB to enjoy real success for any period of time. But more than that, he's ours. To know Bernie is to love Bernie. Anyone who's ever spent 5 minutes with him has come away feeling like a friend. He's the local hero that took the Browns to the AFC Championship game, and he's the same hero who showed up to throw footballs to the kids on my son's youth team last year. Then he stayed and signed autographs for them and all their parents. Bernie's the type of guy that will drop everything to do a favor for a friend and ask nothing in return, even if he's only known you for a day. Bernie's a throwback, a legend that still lives amongst the fans. Those kind of players, those kind of people are few and far between. We know that Bernie's career was cut short by injury. We know he left his best years on the field with us. We honor Bernie because he did everything he could for us, and it's the least we could do for him. Bernie brings us together and makes our region special, and we're blessed to still have him with us. Browns lost.
Absolutely.
Oh, there you go. That's
Yeah. Well
I
said.
mean, it was very well said. He's the local Ken Carmen there. That's one of the local. He's like the Mike Valeni of the Cleveland area, Cleveland Sports Talk Radio. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Bernie's obviously gone through a lot. He played in an era where the quarterback was not even remotely close to being protected as they are now. Well over 100 concussions, which unfortunately led to some alcohol and substance abuse. Not awful, but clearly had to have a liver transplant. But he is on the mend. He is the favored son of Cleveland. He's still my idol. He's why I do everything number 19. So I just want to take a quick moment and kind of, for people that didn't realize or
Get well,
don't
Bernie.
know, can't associate. Yeah, he's, and we're still going to try and get him on the UFP. And that'll be the ultimate of all accolades that we could possibly have if we can get Bernie Kosar, number 19,
And
on the podcast.
serious issue, shallow thought. I think Ken Carmen may be my doppelganger.
He's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Him and Valeni are they're about as passionate, knowledgeable guys in this region about sports as anybody, and they're always a very, very interesting listen to, for sure. So
Absolutely. So speaking of passion, speaking of interesting, that's obviously neither of us. Mike, I think
Clearly
I think it's that time. I think it's time.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Mike's rant of the week. And now, here is Mike with his rant.
Well, I had to roll up my sleeves because once again, as I alluded to earlier in the podcast, it's either automobile or weather for all intents and purposes. And this is, of course, going to surround weather because here we go again. The first snowfall, I guess significant snowfall of the year or the winter. It's technically not even winter yet, but the can't even talk, dramatization drama pumping up this, oh my God, the world is ending. We're going to get 4 to 6 inches of snow. We're teetering on the thought of stepping this up to a winter storm warning, but some of those areas north of a line from I-69 from Flint to Port Huron, we're going to go ahead and bump it up to the winter storm warning. 5 to 7 inches possible with localized amounts that could be reaching 9 inches. Every store that's going to be out there is going to be closed. You're not going to be able to get down your streets. You should hunker up, fire up the stove now because you're going to lose power.
And get your bread, milk, and eggs. I don't know why you need all three, because bread, milk, and eggs.
Yeah, because this is 1920 and vehicles, four-wheel drive vehicles, which everybody, of course, has now, or front-wheel drive vehicles, can't get down the streets. So in typical fashion, everybody starts freaking out about it. Everybody goes to the grocery store because like the grocery store is not going to be open today. Of course, this was yesterday when all the snowmageddon was being forecasted. But yeah, so I mean, listen, we got a decent amount of snow, but you wake up this morning, you look outside, and in my neighborhood, you could still see the grass in many areas. I'm like, wait a minute, 5 to 7 inches, and I can still see grass, and it's melting on the roads. That the winter weather advisory, which is the one step below the winter storm warning, this is going to cause major travel disruptions, and maybe it did. But again, it's kind of like, guys, let's not every time there's a weather event that we freak out. And I understand there's elderly people out there that can't get around. There's obviously handicapped people that possibly could not get around. But by and large, most people in this day and age, unless we're getting a 15 to 17-inch snow, I don't think that we need to sound all the alarm bells and everything else. We're all still here. We all still had power. And I could still see the street and the sidewalks this morning. So there you go. We're not even in Christmas yet, and we're already talking about the snowmageddon snowfall rates. Listen, at least we got a little bit of snow because in many, many instances in the past, I think we all know this, they predict 8 to 9 inches and we get an inch. Then it's like, dude, how could you possibly be that far off in your winter weather predictions? So, yes, there's the rant of the week.
All right. I'm going to bring something up, Mike. This wasn't on our topic, but based on the last couple of weeks, and especially after your AI, the response we've gotten from the AI announcing, I think that there are a lot of organizations, there's a lot of sports teams, there's a lot of high schools, things of that nature in this area that don't have announcers when they probably should. They need to do some things. If you were, and we're going to put this out too as a clip. If you were, your sports, if you're looking for sports announcers, you're looking for MCs and an event host, you're looking at for anybody for the radio in the area, contact us, honestly. Unfunniestpod@gmail.com. Mike and I do a lot in this area for high schools, for other teams, for colleges, and we're always looking to do more because I think our wives hate us at home and are kicking us out more and more. We want to both have 22 jobs, but let us know. We would love to be a part of your organization if you're looking to have that. Both of us bring a lot of years of experience when it comes to PA announcing and announcing in general and hosting, and love to be a part of that. So let us know. Get in touch with us, unfunniestpod@gmail.com, or any of the clips where you see this at. We'd love to help you guys out, love to host your events, and love to be a part of that. And honestly, that also comes with it for other events that Jimmy also hosts and does a lot for lighting and sound and audio as well. So UFP Media, we call ourselves multimedia, but that is really true. Love to be a part of your organization and help out with whatever we can. So an hour and a half in, I think people are sick of us, Mike, and
most likely.
So now we are talking about the next couple of weeks. So Mike, what does your week look like outside of trying to shovel all this snow off of the porch?
look at the Toledo Trade Show for the for my.
Is this the
yes,
weekend? Is this Toledo weekend?
It is Toledo week. It used to be Thursday, Friday, and then you guys would come down and we'd all hang out afterwards. But it's a Wednesday, Thursday there at the Glass City Center in Toledo, Ohio. Wednesday is 2 to 8 with a fun pub crawl after. So if you want to partake in a few pops with us, and then Thursday breakfast and lunch, it goes 9 to 2, I think. So
And we're smart not having it on the weekend, so we can't get down there and recap.
yeah, exactly. You and Jimmy and Dave. Yeah. So there you go.
So myself, not much going on this week. Charlotte's got some things going, but the big thing this weekend, MAC championship game, Ford Field, Sunday, Saturday at noon. Hopefully we should see you guys there. If you are coming, then let us know. Love to see you guys, and hope everyone has a great week. Stay warm and stay dry, everyone.
That's right.
See ya.
Like us, follow us, all that good stuff. See ya.
All right.